Introducing guinea pigs can be a stressful process, with a lot of time, patience and effort required. However, introducing Susu was by far our easiest introduction, so I thought I'd talk a bit about our process and how it went, and hopefully it might help you with any future introductions. I follow a few local rescues on social media, and we had spoke about maybe looking at getting a new guinea pig. We had lost Gambit a few months before and our herd was feeling a bit empty. I just happened to be scrolling by and I saw one rescue had had a recent intake of a few baby pigs. To say I was excited was an understatement. I always loved the idea of having a baby pig, but thought that I would never get one as I only adopt from rescues. I thought the odds of them having babies to adopt would be unlikely, so when I saw the post with Susu, I quickly messaged my partner and got in touch with the rescue, and then we were on our way to pick her up that weekend. To prepare, the day before I washed her playtime fleeces and sorted out our big carrier with a clean towel, a soft tunnel and some hay. I also added in some veg before we left as the car journey was a bit on the longer side, so I was trying to reduce some stress for her. I also considered adding a frozen water bottle as well, but decided against it as I didn't think it was quite warm enough and would have aircon on in the car. After we got her home, I let her chill in the carrier for a wee while as I set up the clean fleeces in the kitchen. Introductions need to take place in a neutral space to avoid anyone becoming territorial. So we usually put some clean fleeces down and block it off with our fence that we use for playtime, and we sit and watch at the side. Once I thought she'd had a decent enough time to de-stress as much as possible, I began clearing out their cage and let the other pigs out for playtime with Susu still in the carrier at the side. This way everyone could see and smell each other. Normally I would set up the new pig in a section of the cage separated with a fence to do the same thing. However, I felt that our normal introduction process wasn't fully necessary because Susu was a baby and I was predicting a smoother introduction as she definitely wasn't going to be fighting for top spot. We made sure that everyone knew that Susu was in the carrier and had had the chance to sniff her. And after a wee while of this, we moved everyone into the kitchen as quickly as possible so everyone was experiencing the new space together. We let them talk to and sniff each other, and then after a while I added in a pile of hay and then eventually some salad. It's important during introductions to keep the experience as enjoyable as possible, so adding in snacks can help continue some good interactions or recover from more aggressive ones. I think this footage is a good illustration of why it's important to not add in any hiding spots during an introduction. When the hay went in, Susu saw the opportunity to hide away, whereas everyone else was confident enough to sit and munch. This meant that no one was interacting with Susu. You need the new pig to interact with the herd so that they can get used to each other and not start fighting when they're housed together. This didn't matter so much as Susu eventually left after Cleo gave her a bonk, which, to be honest, is understandable. I would be annoyed too if someone was standing in my cornflakes. Cleo is normally the one to watch with introductions, as she is the boss and can be quite aggressive if the new pig doesn't submit immediately. But she gave Susu a good sniff and then didn't seem to bother with her for the rest of the introduction. This did make us quite worried at first as we wanted them to interact more to make sure that everyone knew where they stood in the group. However, she just kinda seemed to accept Susu as the new pig and knew that she wasn't going to pose a threat to the herd hierarchy. So, she didn't take much interest in the rest of the introduction and was just grumpy that she wasn't back in her house. Rhea definitely showed the most interest in Susu and was right over to sniff and inspect her, eventually moving on to very intense butt sniffs, which I don't think Susu was particularly happy with. And of course, no good Rhea interaction would be complete without a thorough ear cleaning. The main issue was that Rhea was too interested in Susu. Rhea was in heat when we brought Susu home, and so the butt sniffs then turned into mounting, which is a normal behaviour during introductions, but this was definitely because Rhea was being hormonal considering she's the tamest of the group and she would not stop mounting her. This was extra awkward considering that Rhea is quite a big pig and Susu was tiny, and you could tell that all the interactions from Rhea were starting to get a bit much for her. Which leads nicely into Luna's interactions with her. She showed a little bit of interest in Susu, a few sniffs, butts included obviously, but mostly left her alone until Rhea started pushing her limits. What was cute was that Luna seemed to start sticking up for Susu a little bit and started arguing with Rhea. Luna seemed to be trying to stop Rhea from mounting Susu, or smothering more closely, and was basically telling Rhea to back off. Normally when doing an introduction, I would let it go on for a few hours, then try to wait about 30 minutes to an hour after the last scuffle or argument to put them back. But with this, it was hard to judge when to put them home as there was no real showings of dominant behaviour, which was expected because Susu was only 12 weeks old. A few butt sniffs, a few chin inspections, a few weird mountains from Rhea, but nothing that was particularly aggressive. I kinda just put them back when everyone looked a bit fed up of not being in the cage and seemed more interested in napping. While the introductions were going on, my partner and I took it in turns to clean and set up their cage with clean items to reduce the risk of someone, Cleo, being territorial. I feel that this was something I overlooked when introducing Luna, as the introduction went well, but the problem started when everyone went back into the cage. Cleo was a lot more annoyed with Susu now in the cage, and Susu did seem very scared of her at first, which did have me worried that they weren't going to get along and Susu was going to be spooked all the time. But Cleo warmed up to her eventually. She is the grumpy gaffer of the group, but she is a softie at heart. Rhea, of course, continued being a weirdo and wouldn't stop with the mountain, which continued to annoy Luna, who had to keep stepping in, but eventually she did stop and became her affectionate self, meaning that Susu became the victim to many an ear clean. For a while, it seemed that Luna wanted to play with Susu, but she was so small and skittish at first that she just wanted to run away from Luna. They are a lot more content with each other now and enjoy popcorning and running around together. Susu is now over 6 months old and is a fully fledged member of the herd, and in fact seems to have hit puberty. She has started doing the smallest of rumbles and tries to mount everyone, which is kind of hilarious to watch considering she is still small. She brings a lot of energy and mischief to the group, which does get everyone more excited, even the oldies of the group. She doesn't seem to be a fan of cuddling much with us on the couch as much as Luna or Rhea, but that could be because she's still young and just has too much energy for relaxing. Susu has also definitely found her voice in the group, and I think she might be the noisiest pig I've ever had. She seems to be having a bit of a stroppy teenager phase, as she's constantly moaning at everyone and everything. I hope this video helps out anyone who needed a bit of advice for guinea pig introductions. Bear in mind that baby guinea pig introductions are way easier than adult introductions, as they aren't as hormonal and won't fight for a place in the hierarchy. That will come later. Thanks for watching, and see ya!
It's only you, that's it.